All right. Thank you, Bob. Good morning, everyone. How is everybody on the day after Christmas? Fantastic. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. We had a wonderful Christmas. We had a wonderful Christmas Eve service. It was so good to see everybody. I was just looking up on the screen and it was talking about not being a building, but a community. And it was so good to just see our community together at a different building. But it was really good. We had a great Christmas Eve service, and we hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas yesterday. If you're joining us online, we just want to say, hey, good morning and welcome. If you would be so kind as to put a hello and let us know that you're there this morning, it would be fantastic just to share this morning with you. Yesterday, we celebrated the birth of Christ into the world. And this morning, we mark the beginning of the Epiphany season, or the season of revelation of Christ in the world. Epiphany takes its themes from the journey of the wise men, where they left a very familiar territory and they followed a star to find the Christ child. The revelation did not happen when they waited, where they passively waited. The revelation happened when they took off on a journey. This morning, I want us to look at maybe being compelled by an inner desire for a deeper experience. Let us be guided by a star or an appearance of something different, the appearance of a spiritual possibility, the idea that there is more, that there's something better on the horizon. At this point in our lives, we are brought to this choice place where we make a decision. The decision to leave the familiar, to depart from the place of feeling confident and secure and in control for the place that is unknown, that requires humility, letting go, and moving into a brand new direction. Let's sing this song together. Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see beauty that made this heart adore you. Hope of a life spent with you. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. King of all days, oh so highly exalted, oh yes, in heaven above. Humbly you came to the earth you created, all for love's sake became poor. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. See, Richard Rohr, he says, a good journey begins with knowing where you are and be willing to go somewhere else. Through this Epiphany season, the end of the old and the beginning of the new, God is calling us. He's calling you, He's calling me to a new place, an unfamiliar place. Let us be willing to step out into that unknown for a deeper experience. Let's sing this chorus again together. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me.
Thank you, Jeff. And good morning to all of you. We have a smaller crowd here this morning, and certainly want to say good morning to those of you who decided that PJs at home was a wonderful way to worship with us this morning. We're glad that you're here. You know, we are at the edge of a new year, and there is lots of exciting things that we are stepping into as Center of Unity, as this desire to fulfill the mission that we have said yes to inspire spiritual growth. At our annual meeting in January, we're going to be unveiling a lot of the different plans and goals and opportunities for you to say yes to. I am already well underway with one of those goals, which is our disciple leadership program that we're going to be offering. It's a year-long program that is going to really equip and invite those who are saying yes to that into new ways of not only their own spiritual journey and being more comfortable and expanded in that, but in their ability to also fulfill this mission centric leader, deep and wide leadership that we have here in our community. I have had 11 people say yes. We began by individually inviting staff, board, those in current leadership's position, and I have one opening. So, as Jeff was inviting you to say yes into an unknown journey, I am going to know that that one person who is being tapped on their own heart is going to come forward. All you need to do is reach out to myself or to Mary Salerno. We'll be happy to send you more information about what that program entails. And I just know that we're going to have a enriching journey together as we all discover and grow into who we have come here to be as spiritual beings. I'm so grateful to all of the people who made Christmas Eve possible. It was a beautiful service, and grateful to those who said yes to being a part of it. I'm grateful that we get to always start anew. And so take a moment with me as we just center into this time and into this place and into this journey of Epiphany, into this place where we are beckoned by our own inner star, into places where we are being called to be a light into our world. God, we ask as we move through this sacred season that culminates on January 6th, and as we move into this new year, that each of us have the courage to say yes to where we are being called into greater service, into greater love, and for the magnificent ways in which it unfolds. We simply say thank you. Thank you, God. Amen.
That was fake. That's all right. Good morning, everyone. So glad to see everybody. Unity has 5 principles that form the basis of how we think and how we attempt to navigate this world in which we have found ourselves. The third principle is we have direct access to God through prayer and meditation. To support these principles, we have 5 core values that assist us in living them out. Today's core value is spirit led, and spirit has led me to this. Most of you know that and are aware that my dad made his transition 2 weeks ago on the 13th. Dad was not an easy man to love. An Army officer by career, his emotions and feelings were guarded at best. So after his passing, when family and friends were recalling loving memories, I found myself with not a whole lot in that category. It troubled me. I prayed, nothing. And a couple of days after that, this explosion happened. It was like the power of the wind that destroyed this sanctuary. The blast of love hit me full force, and it was from all of you. To be honest, it caught me off guard and it leveled me. Never in my life have I been that surrounded and lifted up by that amount of love. If this church were to fail at everything else it did, and we don't, the love this church pours out has no peer. So when that free of judgment, full of love seems a little bit distant and sounds like something you'd stitch on a throw pillow, know that it is real and it is sustenance and it is overflowing. Thank you. Today's daily word is faith. My inner light grows brighter through faith. Pulling back a curtain in a dark room will drive the darkness out and flood the space with light. I remember this at those times when my life feels dark. I have the power to live from faith, which brings me out of spiritual darkness. Faith helps me believe that even when I can't see it, the light of God is always shining. Little by little, my awareness of God goes increasingly brighter until I perceive the divine everywhere. I am a spiritual being, inseparable from God. I place my faith in this trust and drive out the darkness of fear and doubt that may have caused me to shrink from the fullness of life. Shining my light in the world, I inspire those around me to grow brighter with faith. And from the Bible, John 12:46, I have come as a light into the world so that everyone who believes in me should not remain in the darkness. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob and Jim. So, this past month, we have been celebrating the light and love of Christmas. That's been our theme this year. And for some, this day after Christmas is actually the beginning of their celebration known as Epiphany. The Epiphany season is primarily observed by Orthodox and Catholic and Anglican Christians. It's most popular in those sections of Christianity, and it is a 12-day celebration culminating in one of the earliest feasts of the Christian church that dates back thousands, well, not thousands, but 1500 years or so to the earliest beginnings of Christianity, and it's celebrated on January 6th. Different cultures celebrate these 12 days in different ways. In Italy, on January 6th, the day of Epiphany is actually a national holiday. And Mary Salerno was sharing with me from her Italian Catholic upbringing that this was a big holiday in their yearly celebrations, and it was celebrated with an Italian legend of La Befana. There she is right there for you. A witch like woman that rode a broom who refused to join the wise men on their journey to see the baby Jesus. And when she regrets this decision after they've already taken off, she sets out on her broom to try and bring her own gifts to the baby Jesus, but never finds him. So the legend goes on that she instead brings gifts to all of the little children who have been good. So they would set out their shoes or perhaps a stocking to receive their gifts. So they got gifts on Christmas Day, and they got gifts on Epiphany Day. The word epiphany itself means unveiling. We sometimes think of it as an aha moment in today's vernacular. In the Eastern Christian Epiphany season, it was to commemorate the circumcision of Jesus and the baby's presentation at the temple, which was the custom in those days. This particular story that's told in Luke tells of a righteous man, Simeon, and a prophetess, Anna, recognizing the pure love, the pure light that this child embodied. This was the awakening, the beginning of the awakening for the people of that time. In the traditions of the Christian church in the Western world, it refers to the visit of the Magi to the manger. The tradition held that this visit occurred 12 days after the birth of Jesus, hence the 12 days of Christmas. You now know where that comes from, even though most people now celebrate it before Christmas. The story of the Magi represent the first people, and specifically the first Gentiles, the first non-Jewish people who saw the newborn child and recognized this pure expression of divine love that had come into our world. We're told in Matthew, when they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. Upon entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The Magi of this time were learned astronomers, they were scholars. In some places, they were priests, and they knew enough to know that the heavens spoke through the stars. This was their belief, that by studying and observing what was going on in the sky, they could receive messages from God. And they observed that something unusual and extraordinary was happening in the heavens at this time. And they knew enough to search through their vast libraries, to research old scripture and prophets and their prophecies, and specifically the prophecies of the Old Testament that mentioned that a child would be born that would become their king. Somehow, God gave them enough light of understanding so that they could make that connection between this natural phenomenon that was happening in the heavens and the biblical prophecies in the Old Testament. Here's a little clip about the Magi and their journey.
For Luke, the shepherds are important symbols of Jesus' humble beginning. But Matthew tells a very different story. In his version, there are no shepherds at all. In their place are the famous wise men from the east following a star. In the film, Balthazar is played by James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader.
Where are you bound?
Wherever I am led.
I follow that star.
But why does a star have the power to draw them so far from home?
The wise men are described as coming from the east, which suggests that perhaps they're from Persia, a region in which astronomy and astrology were especially important. Everyone in the ancient world thought that the stars were important for predicting events. So it's understandable that people from a region where astrology was especially important would think that the arrival of a star like this would herald an event of almost cosmic importance.
But Matthew doesn't name the kings at all, or even say that there were three of them. He simply says, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem asking, where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star at its rising and have come to pay him homage. Their names and number weren't written in any of the Gospels. They appeared in writings many centuries later. But Matthew is specific about the 3 gifts the wise men brought with them.
Accept these poor tokens of our homage, incense to perfume the halls of the mighty.
Gold for kingly rule.
Myrrh, the most precious herb of the East.
Frankincense and myrrh are luxury items associated with aristocracy, even kingship. So to anoint the head of the future king, you need to have these glorious substances, and it needs to come from figures of authority, hence the wise men.
But they were more than luxurious gifts. They signified Jesus' future life and divine status.
The gifts brought by the Magi all have symbolic significance. Gold, which is a tool of wealth, symbolizes kingship and monarchy. Frankincense, which was used in religious rituals, symbolizes the priesthood. And myrrh, which is a herb that was used in burial rituals, symbolizes that there will be death in the near future.
What does Luke say about the 3 kings? Nothing at all. The familiar story of the Nativity, passed down through generations, is a blend of both Luke and Matthew. Together they show a Messiah for all of humanity, rich and poor.
So in Christianity, many have come to believe that God's Spirit led the Magi to see and to spiritually perceive what was being communicated through what was happening in the heavens, and to make spiritual judgments about what they saw and to act upon those, to act upon what they were discerning. They take off on this pilgrimage of faith and discovery to verify and to confirm their own epiphany, their own spiritual insight. And perhaps that overwhelming joy that's described when they finally arrive and find the one that they had been seeking came from this awareness that they had been intimately guided, connected with the God source. The joy that came from following and having faith in their own spiritual awakening that brought them to that point where it was verified. You know, sometimes we get these spiritual insights and we take off on this journey with that same sense of faith. And yet, when we finally get the clarity, when we arrive at where we had been called, it is for our human self exactly what we needed to confirm and to support us in saying yes to the next time that we're asked to step out into the unknown with that same level of faith. It's impossible to know the exact facts of the birth of Jesus the Christ, and yet we can also understand these stories as part of our own journey metaphysically. We can see what was necessary for these wise people on their own spiritual quest and allow that to be what guides us. Excuse me. In unity, we understand the Bible to be a body of history, a moral and ethical teaching for its people. And we also believe that there is a rich wisdom that lies underneath when we can understand it from a spiritual perspective. We see it as an unfoldment of the human soul and its journey to reconcile and be one with its creator. Our metaphysical study of these stories call us to look beyond these physical words and to allow our own inner wisdom to guide us, to understand these characters, the role they play, and how they are continuing to play a role in our own spiritual unfoldment. Charles Fillmore, our Unity co founder, spent numerous years in spiritual discernment, creating what ultimately became the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary that offers us a way, a lens from which to understand these different characters and events and ideas that are written in the Bible so that we can see them all. We're all of these characters. This is all part of our own path. So if we look at the story of Epiphany, of spiritual awakening from a metaphysical perspective, we might begin to get greater understanding and answers about our own journey. The wise men represent the wisdom that is carried within the soul. It is, as Charles Fillmore liked to describe it, not just the wisdom that we've gleaned in this lifetime, but from all the lifetimes that we may have lived, that it is carried with us. It is available to us. And that wisdom is guided by our intuition, represented by the star that guides the wise men. And the gifts that it brings illuminates rich ideas, represented by gold. Spiritual understanding of the material world, represented by the frankincense, and the eternity of spirit, represented by myrrh. Numbers also play a significant role metaphysically in the Bible. We see lots of different numbers in there, and they had significant meaning to the people of the time, and they still have significant meaning in a metaphysical way to us. In the Bible, the number 7 appears more than 700 times. We see it even in all of the way that we measure. We have 7 days of the week. There were 7 days of creation. 7 appears many times in the way that we measure our world today. And the number 12 appears more than 200 times throughout the Bible. It was the age that Jesus first went to the synagogue and sparred with the elders, if you will. It was that time in which completion is necessary. So metaphysically, when we see 7, it represents the time that it takes for completion in the material world. And when we see the number 12, it is representative of the time that it takes for spiritual completion, for it to be completed at all levels of being. The number 3, which represented the Magi, is body, mind, and spirit at all levels of being. So when we see these numbers, we can understand them for ourselves as this journey is one, as it took 12 days, the time that it takes for that spiritual completion to unfold within us. Let's continue this journey right now and see if we can't, in a deeper way, open ourselves to the understanding, to our own epiphany of this time as we move into a time of meditation. So I just invite you, wherever you are right now, to take a moment to just become aware fully of mind, body, and spirit in this present experience. To feel your body, to acknowledge the thoughts flowing through your mind in this moment, and to remember the eternity that your spirit has walked on this journey to spiritual completion, to the full awakening of that indwelling Christ presence. It's a journey that for many of us, in fact, probably most of us, has taken many twists and turns. It's a journey where we've celebrated new life, where we've mourned those who are no longer with us. in a physical way. It is a journey where we've learned and discovered new ways of being, and that calls us to let go of the things that no longer serve us. It's a journey that can't be measured in days or hours, but rather in the eternity of our soul's unfoldment. And just as the wise men were these many, many years ago, we are also guided by our own indwelling star that beckons us in this moment and in each moment to step a little further on this road of discovery, to say yes to this journey that we aren't quite sure where it's leading us, but to trust that the star is leading us to the place that all of our hearts yearn for, that place of unconditional love, that place of belonging. And certainly, as we walk this human journey on our spiritual path, a place of understanding. And so we allow ourselves to be opened in mind and in heart to ask for and be expectant of our own epiphany. To ask to be guided to the next phase of our journey that brings us to the place where deep riches await us. So I invite you each to just take a moment as you have asked to be open to receive your own intuitive guidance, the whisperings of your heart. Just simply listen and see what gifts await. I encourage you these next 12 days that take that journey of spiritual awakening. To each day, take a moment and pause and ask, what is my next step? Where is this star of my own wisdom and guidance leading me? And to give thanks for each step of the journey. For it is what's necessary to bring us to this place where we can say, yes, I have seen the Christ child. I have seen it and discovered it within me, and I see it reflected in each person that I meet. And as you begin to bring your awareness back to this time and to this space, know that this star is there to guide you. All you need do is ask. God, we are so grateful to know that we never walk this journey alone. We are so grateful to those who have come before to show us what is possible. We are grateful to the one who came to be a light into our world and encourage us to know that we too can do this and even greater things. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So we are called in our tradition to use these 12 days for our own spiritual awakening, for our own guidance, to let us know where in this new year we are being called to travel and to be a presence and to awaken to new ways of seeing and understanding life, to ultimately know that we are being guided and we are intimately connected with that creator that we call God. My prayer is that the light of God will shine brightly through each of our lives, that it will bring new heart awakenings, tender hearts, restless hearts, broken hearts, and searching hearts will attain new spiritual insight, will see and discern the gracious activity of God in their lives, and know that we can experience the joy of this season all year long.
My name is Jan Garrett.
I'm J.D. Martin. Our song today is Joy in Our Hearts. Every day is a choice to show some kindness. We all are part of one family, so connected, our hearts and spirit. I reach out for you, you reach out for me. Peace for the season, love every moment. Light shines wherever we are. Faith in the darkness, hope in the silence. Joy, joy, joy in our hearts. Now is the time to come together, to count our blessings. We are grateful. We lift our voices in one chorus. My brothers, my sisters, let's celebrate. Peace for the season, love every moment. Light shines wherever we are. Faith in the darkness, hope in the silence. Joy, joy, joy in our hearts. Celebrate peace and love. Ooh, light that shines.
Shine, shine, shine.
Celebrate faith and hope. Ooh, the joy in our hearts. We need peace and love and joy. Light that shines. Celebrate faith and hope.
Hope in the silence.
Celebrate joy in our hearts. Peace for the season, love every moment. Light shine wherever we are. Faith in the darkness, hope in the silence. Joy, joy, joy in our hearts. Faith in the darkness, hope in the silence. Joy, joy, joy in our hearts. Joy, joy, joy in our hearts.
Yes, all of our singers were very tired today, and they had learned lots of new music. So there you go. It's not quite as lively as it is for us here in person, but for those who are watching us on live stream, they got a great video, and we're grateful to JD and Jan for sharing that with us. Well, it is our opportunity now to share of our financial good with this ministry. We are grateful to all of the people who have so generously supported us. We continue to know that we have all that we need to make the just had a blank there. The deductible for our insurance claim to get our sanctuary back on track. We are so ready for that day. I have said I will never take for granted that beautiful space that we have in there and the way that it allows us to be together. So we are grateful for all of the ways in which our good flows through us. We ask you to continue to pray that things continue to go smoothly. We've got the trusses ordered, we're told. We're just waiting for them to be completed. And we're praying that in earnest work starts as this new year begins. And my vision is by the beginning of February, we are back in our sacred space better than ever. So we're grateful for all of that. Pardon me? Only a month. That's my vision. I mean, it doesn't take that long to make it all happen once they get all the pieces together. So that's what we're waiting on right now. So join with me in doing our offertory blessing as it's up on the screen and I read it with you. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. Thank you, Father, Mother, God. Yeah, we're all a little bit Christmas hungover here this morning. Not by alcohol, just by the things of activities. Just a little clarity. No comments from.
Well, I'd say that depends. Anyhow, if you're watching us for the first time, we're glad that you've chosen to join us. We invite you to visit our website and fill out the Connect card. And if you're local, we invite you to visit us in person. If you're visiting us in person for the first time, please complete a visitor card found on the tables with the offering basket and drop it in the basket or leave it at the visitor desk. We welcome all of you. I can tell you from my own decades of being a part of this church, this is a pretty unique community in some very positive ways. So welcome. Appreciation. Today we're going to appreciate a person who's sitting right behind me, Jim Brunel. Jim has volunteered his time as our drummer for many years. In the past, he performed at the early service where he shared his favorite poems with the congregation, in addition to providing percussion and then again at the later service. More recently, he devised a special drum set to serve us in our smaller space as we wait for our sanctuary to be completed. Through several changes, Jim has stayed with us and continues to entertain us. So for all that you give, Jim, we love you, we bless you, we truly appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Namaste.
Here's what's coming up at Center of Unity. Membership re-verification cards must be returned to the church office by January 3rd in order to be on the 2022 membership roll. Mary Salerno will be in Fellowship Hall after service, so stop by and complete your card. Join us in Fellowship Hall as Gigi Johnson leads the Burning Bowl ceremony this Friday, December 31st at 11:30 a.m. During this meaningful ceremony, you will focus on the symbolic release of what no longer serves you or never did, and make room in your life for the good. Come release negativity and welcome new beginnings in 2022. Then, on Sunday, January 2nd, we'll have a white stone ceremony where Gigi Johnson will lead us to ask Spirit for guidance on what your word or words will be that will represent your highest intention in 2022. Invite your friends and family to join us in this very powerful ceremony. Now through the end of the year, plaques on the Tree of Life will be available at a 25% discount. Fill out a Tree of Life card at the church, contact Mary Salerno, or visit our website and fill out the online order form. There are multiple ways you can make a donation to Center of Unity. You can drop your donation off at the church, mail it to our P.O. Box, visit our website, use the COU or Venmo app, or you can text to give. Your continued support is greatly appreciated.
It's been fun. Why don't we all stand up together? We're going to do our peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our Father, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And so as we go into this week awaiting our own epiphany, we go knowing our prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God, and the presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a beautiful day.